Yeah, so Shen and Zach got nerfed, Twitch got nerfed early game, and thankfully Trinity Force got buffed. So also nerfs for Blade of the Ruined
We haven't
King.
seen one yet, though.
It's okay.
It's
It'll
been
come
denied.
out. I believe. So, of course, the ban's coming through. Vladimir and Gragas dropped away from TBD, aimed at Arthelon.
Yeah.
Arthelon has a giant champion pool. There's still a clip of him like with TP Revive Poppy.
Yeah,
like,
so he has
a
a giant champion pool, but that's because in solo queue, he will play literally anything.
Yes.
In any position, too. So
yes.
He's great at filling in solo queue, which is actually one of the reasons why he got so high up. That's being flexible. We always talk about being flexible in League of Legends is one of the best attributes that you can have.
Yeah.
Arthelon definitely has that in spades.
He actually kept talking to me in the very first spring promotion tournament. He was there. It's not, I mean, I'm happy about this, but it's not a real one. But he used to play a lot of Jungle Heimer back in the day as well.
This is just as good. Bunny Riven.
At least that one might be actually picked up.
Yeah. So Riven also got the recent changes where her third strike is now a knock up instead of a knock back, and she can also hop walls a little bit easier.
Yeah, and Mega says she got stronger because of that, so we might actually see that one get picked up. Of course, the Kassadin first picked here, going for Prolly. He played actually in the last game of the regular season in the MCS as well, so no stranger to this champion. We've seen Kassadin really get picked up a lot recently.
And they used 2 bans on that mid lane for Arthelon so that they could then first pick this Kassadin. We talked about it yesterday. First pick Kassadin, usually very prone to being countered, either with a very aggressive mid laner so you can zone him out of CS early, or even switching up lanes, sending 2 mid at him. We'll have to see if To Be Determined have something better than what went down yesterday, because Boy's Kassadin did not get shut down in the slightest.
No, that guy pretty much carried that game. I mean, getting a double kill at level 6, probably not the best. So, of course, a lot of champions coming on through, picking really fast, actually. The Zyra coming out, the Renekton as well for MegaZero. Meanwhile, the Lee Sin and Caitlyn coming through for TBD.
Now, both of these top laners, MegaZero and Westrice, love heads-up duels.
Yeah.
Both of these guys have been playing the game since Season 1, even before Season 1, and they love the single head-to-head matchup. So we'll have to see if Westrice, who actually trends more towards assassin types in the top lane, can actually is actually going to look for this fight versus a Renekton, because Renekton's a very strong all-around laner.
Oh, absolutely, and we'll see what kind of mischief he can cause here. If it's even going to be like, I guess top lane Kennen might be pretty likely here. We'll see what the rest of the picks come through with. But just 10 seconds to decide. 3 champions already here for TBD. They've got to determine what their 4th is going to be right here, and they've got a couple options.
It could be a top lane Lee Sin, and they would grab another jungler here. Westrice is, up in that sort of boy tier where they love the very offensive Lee Sin builds in the top lane, getting like Hydra and shoving constantly. That's one of the things that's sort of kept Westrice back in his long history in professional league is he plays very aggressive.
Plays one way.
He plays very aggressive.
Forward.
And usually he can rely on his mechanical skills to get out of most of the ganks.
Sure.
And so that's why he's gotten so high rated. But it's also the criticism that a lot of people give him for overextending in very crucial games and then having a knack for getting caught at the wrong time.
That's true. So we'll see if the aggression bites him in the end or if it still works out. Of course, right now compLexity has to make the rest of their choices here. TBD will get the very last counter pick, of course, being on red side. You get that last pick there. But now they've got to pick their own AD carry. It's going to be a Tristana. So the Tristana Zyra lane, I'm still guessing. I don't think it's that like top lane Kassadin Zyra mid thing, although, well, right, of course, Renekton. Yeah, I'm just being silly.
Well, Zyra is one of MeyeA's favorite supports. He's always favoring the offensive supports. Does not like the sustain. You won't see him with the Sonas or Sorakas.
Yeah, he really likes champions who actually fight. There's actually a video he put out saying everyone should learn there's a hotkey you hold down to only target champions, so you don't like fear a minion or something stupid. It's like, learn this, hold tilde down or bind it somewhere and use that. And so anyone who can click on an enemy champion, he'll be a little bit more likely to play.
He's released a lot of those little tips for supports that are pretty good.
He's a good player for that. I'm a really big fan of what MeyeA does here.
All right, so now we're thinking it's going to be a jungle Nasus and, top lane Renekton, mid lane Kassadin here. Now the Talon seems to be the answer, though. That's a Westrice champion. Like we said, he loves assassins. So they may do a lane swap. Arthelon, like we said, very flexible player. He can go to whatever lane he wants. If they want to send this Talon at Kassadin, then they could easily do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's exactly what I was about to be concerned about. Was like, well, Renekton builds tanky. How are you going to assassinate the tank?
Yeah.
But you're right. They'll probably swap lanes around. Of course, Kassadin's passive lowers magic damage, not physical. So you've got a really good matchup there. The lineups, of course, on your screen, the Caitlyn Lulu duo lane, the Tristana Zyra here for compLexity. So, I mean, I got to say there's some really good late game skilling on this compLexity squad that's got to give a little bit of scares to TBD.
And especially if Renekton and Nasus, the brothers here, both build heavy armor, that's going to mitigate a ton of TBD's damage right now because Kennen, he's got AoE magic damage, but even solo lane Kennens start out with attack damage and don't get really powerful AP until much later in the game.
Yeah, you're right. They rush the zone is, they get the couple of Doran's Blades early on, so not huge slicing Maelstroms. And also keep in mind that the number of hits from the ulti goes up with rank. So if he's like level 6, level 11, it's not actually hitting your whole team that hard anyway. So there's going to be an interesting sort of situation. We'll see if more magic damage can come out. Of course, you've got an attack damage jungler as well on Lee Sin, so there's all kinds of interesting risks here. But we're getting ourselves through the loading screen. Again, this is the second semifinal here of the Challenger Series. compLexity looking to get back into the Challenger tournament, get back into the promotion tournament for Season 4 and pick up one of the 3 spots for Challenger teams there. TBD already in a pretty good spot, already have beaten compLexity both in front of a big crowd. We saw that as FXO at MLG, and of course 1-0 during the regular season of MCS as well. But game 1's afoot. It's a best of 3, and this game's going to mean a lot.
Always nice to have that comfort that they know they're already in, but they definitely are going for the money here. That's huge, especially for these challenger teams that don't get salaries like the LCS teams. They're gonna fight tooth and nail for this one.
I mean, you can't really be a pro gamer unless you earn money doing it. So
That's
I imagine
literally the definition.
Pretty much, yeah. So rather relevant tournament here for TBD. Couple of early wards going down by these guys, and the invade actually starting for the red team here. So
no hesitation, even though they're going up against the Zyra. That's one of Jat's most fearful things is invading against the Zyra. And I concur. I think it's pretty scary. He can root up most of your team.
Yeah, thankfully, at least Cassid's not the best level 1 in the world, so they can kind of get around the fact that it probably is not going to be super effective. Though both teams invading pretty heavily here. Arthelon actually leading the charge back into the jungle. He'll be spotted by a ward. Okay, no one's in that brush, but they almost squared off. You can see them actually very nearby, and there's a ward advantage here.
They're trying to rush the bush.
There's a ward advantage for compLexity. The Q doesn't land. They don't know compLexity's there.
compLexity know that they have not been spotted also because that was a pink ward they placed in here. And so basically they're toying with TBD right now, hoping that someone will walk right past this bush again.
There's a chance they do.
Did I say PAX?
I mean, it works, though.
That was an accident.
It doesn't matter.
All right, they just pull it out.
No unfortunately, compLexity don't go for anything special right here. So I was like so caught up, I was like almost ignoring what you were saying. Like, it doesn't matter, it was fine, you're good, I want to watch this fight.
Look at that, though. All the wards have been placed for compLexity. They do not have a single ward left in anyone's inventory.
Nor do TBD, actually. Both teams spent a whole lot of money doing all of that. Early red buff start, of course, for Lautemortis. That'll leave him near the top lane when he hits level 3, which he could use to support MegaZero. MeyeA taking extra time there to help support. Oh, he stole away the little lizard. What a jerk.
It's okay. Still got most of the experience there. NASA standing right next to it. It's good enough. Now, all these wards being spent so early means that the first 3 minutes will be a little bit slower for the junglers, which will benefit Nasus, but those are all going to run out fairly early since they were all placed on the invade, in which case Lee Sin can get into position for some of his jungle gym activities.
Absolutely. I've actually seen some pro junglers will like get level 3 and then recall back for a ward and come back. MegaZero, though, having to defend the blue buff invade right now. heavenTime and Nydus coming on in. Is the smite still there? Lautemortis has picked it up, but Mega getting lower and lower in health. Has to flash away at 100 HP. Good escape, but the blue buff secured by Laut, but not level 3 for him.
All right, so there was a good collapse here by both teams, actually. TBD was ready to pounce on that, but the flash down from Mega and the low HP pool that he's sitting on. Well, never mind. He's got plenty of. He ported back to the fountain.
And so Lautemortis is going to just hold onto that top lane and get himself level 3 just by soaking up XP. Spear Fire should help keep that turret alive, but meanwhile, of course, Chuuper and MeyeA being left alone in this 2v1 lane, and the first minion wave push has now arrived at the turret. Arthelon forced to defend, not getting zoned out at least, so he's last hitting okay, but his turret's losing health.
Yeah, it's losing health slowly because of the extra armor, though. You know, Kennen's wave clear is not the best, especially very early on, and Tristana has innate wave clear with the explosive shot. Added on a support with the range of Zyra, and you have a really good early 2v1 pushing combo here.
Yeah, so you're right that the turret's losing a lot more health, but I want to point out how well Arthelon's doing compared to MegaZero. Arthelon's got 10 last hits. In the 1v2, he's doing okay. MegaZero's only at 3. Probably, oof, wow, what a trade with Westrice.
MegaZero wasn't even in that 1 versus 2. He was in like a 1 versus 3 in the jungle area. There were no minions around for him to grab. But you're right, the mid lane here, Westrice has taken it over. They did pull off that swap so he can go up against the AP assassin in Kassadin, and really the action starts in that lane once they both hit level 6. Pre-6, it's basically going to be jungle interference.
Yeah, and I'm impressed by Probably, who's actually keeping up in minion kills despite how rough that lane looks. With the Doran's shield, as of a couple months ago, doesn't give armor anymore. It just blocks basic attack damage. So he's taking full damage from Westrice's Rake the entire time, and you're seeing his health bar get really crushed because of it. It's Lautemortis who takes over the mid lane, unless it's a cannon minion with Q, and says, look, we don't want to give up any experience or gold, but Probably you're going to have to go back and recall.
And we have Westrice sitting in the lane a little bit longer. So usually, you know, it's the first one to go back is gonna be lower on experience, but he's gonna come back with the tier already. As soon as Probably has enough mana to get that tier, most important thing to him is stacking up those mana stacks. So Westrice will have the slight experience advantage, but Probably's gonna be able to harass him out.
And that could be pretty useful. Of course, Westrice sitting at just over 800 gold, so you can pick up at least 2 longswords when he goes back. I think we normally see Brutalizers come out of Talons pretty early on, and actually recalling right behind the wall. Probably's not going to see him and won't be able to interrupt that recall. That's a very good choice.
That's just something that you need to learn, is the small corners that you can use that will still hide you in Fog of War. There's some very nice ones. In the mid lane especially, that spot specifically that he was standing in is a great spot if you are playing a mid laner with skill shot CC like Anivia or Morgana. You can wait there and fire off the skill shot with them not seeing you and have just a much greater chance of actually landing it.
That's a great tactic right here. It's something that we've seen a lot of LCS pros do when they play. I guess we don't see a lot of Morgana much anymore, but it used to be pretty common in Season 2. So Probably back to his mid lane, level 5 to level 5. Westrice, probably a bit of an XP edge right here. He hasn't gone back yet, yeah.
You know, he's got the makings of a Tiamat, if he really wanted to go for it. Pre-level 6, though, no invisibility. He's going to have to flash.
Down to half HP. There's the flash coming out. Landed the slow as well. I said no items. I was looking at Arthelon's items. I was looking at the mid lane. I was like, he didn't buy anything yet. This is so weird. And yeah, you're right. So yeah, interesting. The makings of a Tiamat. I've seen that build as well, actually. It's a good burst out. MegaZero still in the battle here. Level 5, down a little bit low. He's been sustaining okay on just that Doran's shield and the earlier potions. Mid lane getting pushed out again. Westrice is holding into this lane with just the health and mana potions ticking away. The early attack damage.
And to Mega's credit, he's caught back up in CS, even to Arthelon, with heavenTime down here babysitting. This tower's still going to go down.
2 shots to go, and that's going to be the first turret going down for compLexity. Building a gold lead, Probably should go to the top lane as well. NydusHerMain so low on health. 1 hit to go. Is it going to be Probably getting the attack? Nyd is still shooting away. Survives still longer, and there we go. MegaZero picks up first blood. Lautemortis owns away ROBERTxLEE. Westrice pushing down the mid turret, but an early lead for compLexity.
Yeah, first turret and first blood. Westrice is not going to be able to finish this one off, but he does get some free time CSing here. He did not follow the roam of Probably, and it has cost them first blood.
And that might have been a mistake here. Probably, though, going to move forward. Goes in immediately for Westrice. Dropping him pretty low. Probably might just want to stay around for this one a little bit. He has gone back, of course, for a new Doran's ring and boots as well. Probably did shop after that first blood assist. Gold, more harass on a Westrice, now forced to last it under his turret. Looks like Probably just going to be like, all right, got to by much. I'm going to keep my team doing well.
The best part of that was he got the gank off without using his teleport for the gank. So then he only lost 1 minion wave before getting back there with the teleport. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth his time here. And he hasn't seen any, Westrice hasn't seen any benefit from taking Ignite over teleport. So the early edge definitely going to Probably here.
There's only one edge here, actually, for Westrice right now, which is that the blue buff went down first for TBD, so he's got about a minute and a half of blue buff before the blue on the other side respawns, and that might be enough to give him some edge here to try to push away on the Kassadin. I'm not sure, really, because Doran's ring tier is still pretty good mana. But interestingly, compLexity has actually swapped their lanes back after that first turret went down. Chuuper and MeyeA went to the top lane, and it's now MegaZero sitting at the bottom, but this gives up some control over Dragon.
Well, they're going to go for a lot of pressure on the top lane. They might even dive Westrice. He's level 6, so he can go invisible under his turret if they actually let him get there.
MeyeA lands the root and the double plants as well. Westrice losing a couple hundred HP because of this. painful.
Prolly's waiting this whole time, too. MeyeA is completely baiting right now. They're trying to get Westrice to all-in him to have Prolly come in and silence.
Oh, what
there
a good move right there. Rocket Jump does not land, but that might be enough for Westrice. Pops his ulti, jukes over to the left. Is he going to stay in range? Goes for a bit more harass. He knows he's going nowhere. Prolly picks up the kill, steals away the blue buff. Nice job there, compLexity.
Supports are the juiciest of baits right there, and MeyeA definitely played that one perfectly. Westrice was very, very eager to get some gold mobility boots to be able to answer the roam of Prolly with his teleport Kassadin here. So a little bit of an overextension right there.
Yeah, very well played, though, here by the compLexity squad. Prolly now part of 2 of his team's 2 kills. And look at that, Lautemortis and MegaZero together in the bottom lane, taking away Dragon, despite not having their dual lane there at all. Very well played by compLexity. That's building them now a 4,500 gold lead. That is huge this early.
They are taking everything right now. They're up 2-0 in turrets and 2-0 in kills, already controlling the Dragon as well. Every single objective really going for them. And they have the late game Tristana plus the assassin that is Kassadin already with a very good early start. Better than Westrice.
Well, you heard that's what Dignitas said about their best of 3 against Curse was Voidbite got 2 kills early on Kassadin. At that point, the game's pretty much over.
Yeah.
So if you believe Dig here, Dig would lose this game at this point. They'd be like, all right, two early ones on Prolly.
Well, they don't have Zac.
You know what, never mind. Yeah, right? There's no Zac here, so good shape. heavenTime, though, still clearing out his jungle. Looks like Lautemortis still, though, has had a better start for this one. And we look at that Tiamat actually done for MegaZero, as well as Tiamat being built up for Westrice. So both these guys going offensive on their melee frontliner dudes.
And TBD really needs someone to go extremely offensive here because they're going to have to get picks. Now they're so far behind, 10 minutes into the game, that the only way to turn that around is pick fights with a man advantage. And it's going to be hard for them to actually pull that off.
It's true. At the very least, though, they have really good engage. They've got, or at least ways to go in on one guy. You've got Talon, you've got Lee Sin, you've got the Caitlyn ultimate, you've got Lulu to support that. There's a lot of people there who can super dive in on a member of compLexity. So we'll see if TBD can actually put people together there.
Yeah, they don't really have hard engage to catch it, though. So it's really going to be up to compLexity to give that to them.
Okay.
They're hoping compLexity is going to spread out a little too thin and relax on their warding. But MeyeA is doing a great job.
He doesn't even need wards. He puts plants down. It's good enough. And he's like, heavenTime. Back to the lane you go. You're not going to base right now. MegaZero is still sweeping away waves, and you're seeing actually the minions start to get pushed farther and farther towards TBD's side of the map. Mega pushes at the bottom lane, then goes back over towards the mid. The third outer turret still available here for TBD. But of course, it's letting Prolly sit there in the top lane and farm, and he's actually freezing it.
Yeah.
He's actually just going for the gold income.
Everybody know what's going on in this game. It's deathly quiet right now because TBD have yet to make a response move.
And a little bit of fight here between Arthelon and MegaZero. Mega goes for the ultimate and just goes in onto Arthelon, lands another Q, but there's going to be a turret in the way, stopping it from going in any farther. Arthelon still has ulti. He's got to be a little bit aware of that one.
All right, well, they got a cooldown up at least. Lee Sin is in the area, but like we said, MeyeA doing a great job of keeping up the vision so that compLexity don't get caught out in that position and don't let TBD back in this game. As early as it is, they have a very, very large lead.
Definitely do right here, and you're seeing still what's going to be the next move here for compLexity, because as much as I sort of like their late game chances with the Tristana, it's always weird to see a team have a big lead and be like, you know what, we're just going to kill a dragon or something and kind of wait around and not push too hard.
So what they're doing is they're having Prolly up top freeze because he has teleport. Usually when you freeze up there, you'll start sacrificing control of the rest of the map because you don't have the man advantage. But Prolly bringing teleport on Kassadin, this is the perfect situation for a Kassadin. Farming by yourself and having the opportunity to join any team fights that happen so you can come clean up. This is the exact position he wants to be in.
And a little bit of a catch here on Nydus, down to about 300 HP, but this could be the jump in from Westrice. If he has the damage he needs, Chuuper forced to flash away, very low on health, Team and helping the damage go down. The dive coming back in, heavenTime jumping to avoid Lautemortis, about to go down. That's one kill picked up on Lautemortis. heavenTime finds Q2, gets the kill on the Chuuper as well. And will we see Prolly show up for this fight? He has teleported down, but can he do much else? It's so far 2 for 0. MeyeA a little bit low. MegaZero caught up by heavenTime. Westrice nearby. Nothing to jump to. MeyeA and MegaZero still running away. heavenTime around the side. They spot each other again.
He's running defense.
Good dodge right there. Oh, the knockup, it catches him. MegaZero slicing Maelstrom, not going to catch him here though. 3 kills picked up, and here comes Prolly. That's a silence and a slow. ROBERTxLEE putting damage back onto him, but that's a 3-for-0 fight for TBD.
Great job by TBD pulling a pincer movement there, catching 3 in the jungle. The teleport came in from Prolly, but it was too late. After all 3 members of compLexity had already taken too much damage from that Westrice burst. He actually made the talent pick pay off there. As soon as he rushed the Tiamat, came in with the combo, ultimate and Tiamat prot. Oh, Prolly's on the hunt!
Oh, nice pickup right there, dodging around all the vision control. Picking up that one. Probably likes that one a lot. And the team now of compLexity is in a 5-on-4. They've got the numbers advantage. A little bit of damage coming across, and the mid lane push is going to resume.
Yeah, this is the next target they wanted to go with, was the mid turret all along, so that they can start controlling the jungle and not be the ones getting caught out in the 3 versus 4 or 5 situation that they just saw.
So well played right there. Good job to compLexity. Westrice actually grabbing his own red buff here, so he's just carrying all the buffs right now. Westrice putting the team on his back a little bit. 89 minion kills in that man, and he's going to keep doing what he can. He got that last team fight to their favor. The early burst, as you mentioned, being pretty crucial in that one. And now compLexity say, all right, Dragon's up at 30 seconds. We don't have teleport, though. Chuuper, though, is about to get caught out. Westrice comes in. He's been spotted now. Does Chuuper have the damage?
Ooh.
Westrice actually just won't even go for this one.
There's no barrier up for Chuuper right now either. But Westrice doesn't want to get caught out by a counter gank. Looking for him, you know, Kessinen's at the base.
Okay, so he's safe here. The bottom lane was pushed out by MegaZero. The red buff re-grabbed here by Lautemortis. Pink ward control going back over to NydusHerMain and the rest of TBD over that blue buff. But Dragon has now respawned. Westrice is still in the top lane, and the rest of actually compLexity aren't going for that too hard. They're setting probably the top lane as well.
All right, Westrice gets jumped on. The silence is Kessinen's advantage. Whichever one of these assassins comes in first is going to get the silence on the other one, because they're both similar range. The only thing is there's travel time on Prolly's. Here, Arthelon taking a little harass.
Yeah, well, they're doing a little bit of damage right there, but you're seeing, just like we saw actually in the Curse game, it's Wither maxed at the very end. It's max Spirit Fire for Lautemortis. Maxing is Siphoning Strike second, so stacking up the Qs. Ward kill goes down. TBD getting control over Dragon this time. Both Westrice and Prolly coming across the map. We will have a 5-on-5 in the near future. Chuuper just taking away these wraiths right here. We're going to see the teams group up for this Dragon.
All right, so it's to be determined that the ones actually forcing this, but they're going to have to pull around because compLexity.
Well, they're keeping it aggro. 2/3 health right there, slowing a lot of Mortis down to half HP. The Nasus at only 1200 health is a killable champion, I think. Only 70 armor, 50 magic resist. Mid lane minions still going down right
They're
here.
tanking Dragon this whole time, though.
Yeah, the health bar is a little bit going down. Westrice jumps in, he looks for MeyeA, but he's been exhausted. There still will be the kill on Zyra. Pops her ultimate. A lot of knockouts come across. ROBERTxLEE zoned out a little bit by MegaZero. Jumps to the wall. Fight still going on. 5 versus 4 still. Mega, Chuuper jumping forward. They find one. Can they find more? A lot of kills now coming across for compLexity. Good jump over the wall, but it's still going to be another kill now for Chuuper. It's a double kill for him. 3 members of TBD are dead. Well fought by compLexity.
It was an interesting strategy there for TBD. They all tried to jump over the back of the Dragon Pit, and they took out their first target, which was MeyeA, but that's only the support. And all the damage was left up from compLexity. Probably still on the hunt.
And now NydusHerMain does not have a lot of places to go. Both are out of mana, though. Dragon goes down, and he's going to give up.
So if Prolly could land a basic attack, he has red buff slow, plus Kessinen's going to get mana back for each attack onto a champion, but not able to get that single attack down.
Unfortunately not. So it's going to be just the Dragon and 4 kills for 1. And okay, that's pretty good for compLexity overall. 7-4 on the scoreboard. 27 to 21,000 gold. So the lead has actually been growing for these guys. There's one really great fight for TBD, but otherwise this game has been all compLexity.
Nasus there, trying to tank up. This is Golem. Doesn't want to get low enough because the plant would actually last hit it, and they want to give it over to Prolly so that he can continue to assassinate people. As he has finished his Archangel staff, he finally has extra ability power now.
And this is the new build we've been seeing from Kassadin as of about a month or so ago, is not Rod of Ages, just the Sork Shoes Archangels build. So that is awesome. So well played then. Or sorry, good like sort of adaptation that people are still sort of learning the builds they want to run and say, you know, this is actually the build that'll work for us. Is a bit more of an early spike, not waiting for the Roa to stack.
So I kind of gave that advice to Reggie, and it chained down through high and a whole bunch of players. The reasoning I had was, if you get your upgrade into the Seraph's Embrace earlier, then you get the shield, and you don't really need the health from that Rod of Ages stacking up. It basically gets ability power earlier on Cassidy.
heavenTime getting caught out, 1,000 HP on him, still trying to run away, kicks only Lautemortis back. Probably won't chase, he's got no ward coverage down there. There they go, the escape. And yeah, it's actually the build that, there's a top Singed player that I forget who it is. Clever Advisor, who's like a really well-known Singed, who's really awesome. And he's like, yeah, just go Archangels, don't go for the Rod of Ages at all. So we've seen actually a couple guys sort of learn that, actually, you know, yeah, that might be the way to go for this. So props to Kobe, props to everyone else. New builds coming across, all right. ROBERTxLEE, though, still on the farm train, 150 minions on him, but is not nearly as scary as Chuuper's Tristana. Just compare the 80 carry items. Bloodthirster versus like Infinity Edge and most of Zeal.
And it's Tristana as well. The later the game gets, the more range that he's going to chalk up here due to the passive. All right, so at TBD, they really need to pull off another one of those combos with Westrice and heavenTime. heavenTime's done a great job as Lee Sin getting into assassinate single target that Westrice gets low, but there's always the rest of the members of compLexity they're able to answer. So once again, those pickoffs to get back in this game. That they haven't gotten enough of them. They're still able to grab.
Chuuper's the one going for the assassination. Westrice gets slowed while invisible. That was beautiful. Probably could still be in this fight. A lot of damage coming across. It's another kill picked up. heavenTime forced to run away. He's not going to be able to. MeyeA secures the kill. Another 3-0 started by the 80 carry.
And it's compLexity who are able to get the fight with the numbers in their favor this time. That comes with the advantage of all the wards they've been placing inside the jungle. Now they also can pressure 2 turrets at once here.
Yeah, that mid lane, though, it did get wave cleared by ROBERTxLEE, but the top lane has no such defense. Chuuper, MeyeA, and Lautemortis going to take this one down. Probably going to recall back, but has teleport to rejoin his team. Turret falls over. MeyeA securing that one. 10-4, 4-1 in turrets. compLexity doing very well as we go into the mid game.
Yeah, to be determined. Really, they've only had those two small team fights where they were able to catch out compLexity. Other than that, they've really just been bleeding money all over the map here.
It's ironic that Talon's the one bleeding money. Not even a groan, just no one's going to reply to that one. All right, that's fine. Arthelon going to move forward. Clear. When they're that bad, you shouldn't reply, I suppose. Actually, a missed pink ward, not in the brush at all. That won't. See, there's a missed ward kill. Like, that's just unfortunate,
so
MeyeA.
Does the proc from Hydra count as a basic attack? Because it's an auto attack reset?
No, it doesn't trigger on hit effects. It will pull the Talon ult back in. There's actually one thing that Talon players will do is because there's a lockout on when you'll break stealth. If you pop the Tiamat or the Ravenous Hydra, you'll bring the blades back in quicker than normal.
So what I was thinking, though, is the 10% extra damage that he gets on his basic attacks from his passive does not apply?
That would not apply.
Well, tough break for Westrice because he needs all the damage he can get.
Yes.
That is their hope right now. Assassinating someone like Chuuper would be ideal. And he's alone by himself in this mid lane.
Yeah, and Chuuper's been able to build just damage. Like, I know when we see people fight against Zed, they'll sometimes go Quicksilver Sash, and of course that's not really that useful against Talon, but he's building full offense.
Hey, yo, and there's some damage dealt. We got some cheers for that.
All right. A nice little snipe. MeyeA's got to regen back up with this Philo Stone. But yeah, despite the fact that Chuuper has not had to build any defense, he's relying on Barry, who's only died once.
And, you know, this is, a very slow game, but it's to compLexity's credit here. A lot of people giving challenger teams a lot of flack for, quote-unquote, looking like solo queue games, not knowing the game plan, not knowing where to go. They're playing it very safe right now, and they're going by the numbers. They continue to use their teleport assassin split pusher, continue to build up their end game scaling hyper carry, and they're putting a stranglehold on this game. So there will be very few options for TBD.
That was a pretty painful jump on to heavenTime there at about 600 health left on him. Running away bravely, and the split push, of course, still continuing for Prowley. Arthelon, I don't think he's going to have a good time against him. No magic resist for this guy whatsoever. And this is pretty fed Prowley, so gets some of the silence down. Lautemortis going to shove the wave over, and the rest of compLexity now grouping towards this side. They've got 3. MeyeA puts a deep ward down. Nope, just kidding, that's actually a ward for the other team. But they forced away Arthelon. Westrice and Robert also forced back, and the turret's going to take more and more damage. It falls over, in fact. There is turret number 5 for compLexity. Dragon's up as well.
This is a fairly dominating performance here by compLexity, to say the least. In complete control of all the objectives from the beginning of the game. Really, all that TBD have going for them is that chance at the assassinations, and they haven't been able to make multiple ones work for them.
No, they really haven't here. So unfortunately for this TBD squad, they're just looking for something to actually do, and there's just nothing going their way. Chuuper, again, getting a bunch of free farm, and you can notice sort of by the minion kills, just sort of compare top to top, mid to mid, AD to AD, compLexity have done kind of a better job of owning the jungle and owning the minion lanes, because every single one of them are basically beating their counterpart in minion kills.
Yeah.
That there's just been more farm coming in for compLexity on top of the turrets, on top of the kills, on top of the dragons.
I mean, Tristana at this point with that last level just got up to 667 range, so he's now even beating Caitlyn in the range game. There's nothing that ROBERTxLEE has on Chuuper at this point.
Yep, everything past level 12, Tristana starts outscaling the Caitlyn right there. 649 was the level 12 attack damage range there. And it's Lautemortis just, and it doesn't even matter who goes. compLexity is going to send whoever happens to be most nearby to clear out that minion wave. They're letting Lautemortis get farm. He's getting to be a big tanky Nasus. We've seen Locket be pretty popular even still, and he's got the Aegis so far. Just everyone in compLexity is getting now bigger and bigger and scarier.
There's two schools of thought on what to do when you are this behind. Do you make a desperate play, send 5 members, commit all your resources to picking someone off or picking up something like a sneak Baron or something like that? Or do you just sit and wait like they're doing, play the very safe game, and place your bets that compLexity will be the ones to make a mistake? You hope for a failed dive from them. It looks like TBD are going the safe route here, and they're just going to hope for compLexity to make a giant misstep.
Let's see if they can find it. Westrice forced to flash away from Chuuper. That is the opposite direction. Westrice would like to be going in this game, but has to run away from his primary targets, his primary prey. 80 carry, scaring him out. The Hunter indeed has become the hunted this game. And MegaZero, just everyone's taking turns getting a bunch of farm, and we haven't seen TBD nearly as easily be able to soak up farm on these sides of the maps. And compLexity continues to push on forward. Another plant comes down. Another snipe out from ROBERTxLEE. He seems to always target MeyeA. Like, Zyro just keeps getting shot by Caitlyn and has to walk back.
Makes you feel good when you see the biggest red bar, and that's usually going to come from targeting the supports.
Yes. All right, most damage possible. And there we go, MegaZero making his way in towards the base. Probably Westrice in a duel. The Seraph's Embrace shield so powerful. Westrice forced to 1, could probably juke properly, and he gets the kill. Nice job winning the duel, still with half health remaining. 6-0 and 3 on that Kassadin.
That's basically what, you know, Riv is talking about when he smacks someone in the face with a giant pot of gold.
Yes.
It's just the money that Frawley has. Way too much for Westrice to overcome in a duel.
Too much bling, man. He's got an hourglass. Yeah. Dude, I would hate to get hit with an hourglass. That would kind of suck a little bit.
If this comes to a team fight, it's going to be a massacre right now from compLexity.
It would be brutal. They don't have 5 members alive for TBD right here. 13 seconds still on Westrice. The push in. First inhibitor turret has gone down. The second one not even going to be defended, it looks like. Robert is doing some damage from range, but has to back out. There we go. Into the base. compLexity goes. Inhibitor down and 7 turrets.
This is a golf clap type of game here. Well played, well played.
Yep.
Nice inhibitor, guys.
That's what you expected. There's a hole in 27 minutes.
And again, they're not overextending here. They want this even more than TBD want this, because they want the spot that goes along with the money.
And
This is why compLexity. Plus, these guys know each other very well. We saw them before the game. You know, these are all very old school players, and they're all friends. So they've played not only in competitive environment, but all the time on solo queue as well. And they don't want to give anyone on TBD the chance to get back in this, because they know how well Westrice or any of these players can snowball just a small lead if you get them anything back into the game.
Oh, exactly.
At this point, they're going to need a big one. But.
Well, yeah, the lead's pretty big, but you're right. There's 2 stories there to that one, and one is that Westrice comeback. We saw him, unfortunately, not a ringer this time, but at the MLG games, like, his team would be down a lot, but Westrice would be like 2-0, and we just like one-shot people and run around and turn the game back. And Talon is a character who can do that. He's got Ravenous Hydra Last Whisper. Now, again, granted, compLexity are pretty far ahead, and actually there's now a Giant's Belt coming out for Chuuper. This is the new build path for Frozen Mallet, by the way, if he wants to go for this one. So we might see that be his defensive item now. But also you sort of spoke to the camaraderie of these players. And MeyeA, by the way, actually trumps even me in making really corny, lame jokes. And he was just trolling everyone in the pregame chat as we waited for the games to start. And everyone is having a really good time. It's nice to see that the players are friends as well as sort of opponents in this game.
All right, so compLexity, they also have the ability to tower dive at this point because both the Nasus and the Renekton are tanky enough, and they also have the burst damage if they catch out a single target. Here, Westrice again fighting Prawley. He knows he can't win straight up, though.
Pop the ult. Pink ward goes down by Prawley. Actually, wow, look at the damage coming across, but just not quite enough burst. Prawley, though, dropped to only 300 health. I mean, that's
valiant showing there from Westrice.
All right, needs some more damage, though. Just a little bit. And Prawley can maybe go down. 7-0 and 3, though, on Kassadin. Again, that is a difference of Ignite, actually. Westrice did not have his up just yet. Of course, probably doesn't have it. But yeah, that little bit more gold lead. We were talking about the comeback potential there. He doesn't quite have it yet, but if that option, of course. But the Baron going down is going to be maybe too much for them. Taking a bunch of pain. Lautemortis even going to burn his ult for it just to make sure it dies a bit faster. But no one from TBD is even nearby. This is compLexity's Baron.
That last battle may give Westrice the confidence to go searching for those solo kills that you're talking about, how they might be able to get back in this game, how he did on his Rengar. Talon is one of the champions that can go assassinate either of those squishy targets. Really, it's only MeyeA or Prawley, though, because even Chuuper at this point has too much HP, especially with his barrier, for Westrice to be able to take down.
That's probably likely,
So he's only got 2 targets on his headhunting list.
And one's a support.
And both of them are next to the rest of the team, so makes it very difficult.
It'll be hard. Westrice down to half HP, silence as well. MegaZero up in front. Lautemortis taking the turret. That turret did a good amount of damage right there. So compLexity forced to play the siege game. Chuuper doing the damage. Turret goes down, and the push continues. Oh my God, just jumps right
Chuuper goes in!
And the push is there. Westrice doing a bit of damage, but getting just dropped right down. 2 kills so far for compLexity. The push still coming across Arthelon. Forces Zonia's the dive still coming across. NydusHerMain does survive this one, but Arthelon will not. 3 kills picked up. This is going to be compLexity taking over the game.
Yeah, great game by compLexity. Well-deserved win right here. TBD is going to have to play everything different in the next one. You see how confident they are to have Tristana jumping on 4 people by herself?
That was a little crazy. I was surprised to see that one. He jumped in and flashed out and just wanted to slow to make sure the catch happened. A little bit of a cutie pie there. So I'm going to dive into your base. But there we go. Prawley, yeah, he's got the wink. He's got the 2 thumbs up. There's the fist bumps as well from MegaZero and Lautemortis. They're happy. You got to be happy with that one. And they were confident coming in. I asked him before that, actually yesterday morning, I was like, hey, how do you feel? He's like, well, we played them with a player who could only play Ezreal, and we almost won, so I think we're good now that we have our full lineup.
Yeah, and this is the compLexity team. They switched out a couple members, but they were in the LCS. MegaZero, to his credit as well, was in the LCS on Team Marn. So these guys have already tasted what it's like to be in, and they want to get back to that.
Yeah, and Chuuper had played at the very end as well there. Unfortunately, not a great relegation showing by him, but he seemed to do a whole lot better here. Just to say, Chuuper 3-1-6. Now on 80 carry, he was the mid laner, of course, for compLexity back then. But yeah, the team putting on a pretty good showing here. These guys clearly had, I'd say, both the individual skill. Well, yeah, I mean, they did a great job, right? The individual skill was there. They did very well in their lanes. I think they got first turret, they got first blood, they got first dragon. All those firsts were theirs, and they had the teamwork to make all those happen.
They're all very good friends, though, like we said, and even after that first loss, going over to give the handshakes. Yeah. So I don't think there's going to be any hard feelings. Game number 2, though, TBD is going to have to change a whole lot here. That game plan didn't really seem like they had any sort of focus point except for the stray assassinations, comboing Lee Sin with the Talon here. They were playing so reactive. I think the first pick Kassadin just mind-gamed them.
Yeah, they seem to have really bad comeback potential. So unfortunately for them, no comeback happened for TBD, but it's a best of 3. We've seen series go back and forth all throughout the weekend. That's going to do it for us here for Game 1. Let's send it over to Riv and Jat for a breakdown of the key plays in compLexity's Game 1 win.
Thank you very much, Freak. And really, I think what we saw there a lot was compLexity still sticking with their focus of objectives early. They brought out the Bash brothers, Nasus and Renekton to go into the fight. And if you look at TBD's comp, they didn't have one true tank to go into that composition.
No, and they couldn't get past the Nasus and Renekton. But even before any of that happened, they lost, just think about that game, 2 turrets before any response. a Dragon with almost no response, and all the first set of kills going right to complexity. So, I mean, right from the start, they were just hitting them harder. The Renekton lane that MegaZero pulled off was dominating. Even the Tristana lane in the 2v1, they were able to take the lane faster. Like, that's almost combining MegaZero's strength into the whole team, because he handled that 1v2 situation so well.
Yeah.
That Chuuper and MeyeA were then able to handle their 1v2 situation just substantially better against the Kennen, which, considering it's a range versus a melee, I mean, really speaks to the strength of MegaZero in that game.
And it was interesting because I even pointed it out to you. I was asking, they really want to take that lane with Triss so early, but they did, because the objectives matter so much. And that actually leads us to our replay of the second Dragon, and how focusing that Dragon, how getting that objective into place, and TBD to be in that fight area really cost them a sway of the game. Let's get that replay up for you, and you can show just how it happened.
Yeah, exactly. And in this replay, you can see it was a breaking point for TBD against complexity, because they were already down about 4,000 gold, and they're deciding to force the Dragon. But they're not actually thinking about the Dragon, because they know they're going to be weaker. They're trying to find a surprise fight on complexity, because complexity is coming in from multiple angles. Let's just start rolling this at full speed to see how they decide to jump on MeyeA. But MeyeA actually plays this really well, because he gets his ultimate down. Let's pause it right here, and we'll see kind of like whose ultimates are better. Kennen's knocked up in the air, so it looks a little weird right now because he's huge right in front of us. But check who Arthelon's actually hitting with that ultimate. MeyeA is already dead, and Lautemortis is effectively the tank. The priority targets for complexity, who are Chuuper, or sorry, the priority damage dealers, who are Chuuper and Prawley, are effectively safe. And then MegaZero just chases ROBERTxLEE on the bottom right of the map quite a long time. Keep rolling this at full speed to see how complexity has kind of rolled the floor. Prawley, Chuuper, MegaZero, the three people who want to do damage on complexity, destroyed to be determined. It was a nice effort by TBD to try and get the fight started in the right place, but just because the way MeyeA played, the rest of complexity was kind of in sync throughout the rest of the fight, is why they're able to win that fight so strongly.
It's always fun to watch complexity play these games that they do get ahead in, because Prawley will do those things, 1v1, go and assassinate people like you would see on a Zed, and it becomes almost unstoppable for a team, especially when you're coming in a live experience audience. It's been a while since they played at MLG, the nerves are up, and once that starts happening, you're like, you know, do we stick together? Can we split push? Everybody's being taken out. And TBD definitely has a lot to think about before this next match.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that if Complexity's solo laners, Prawley and MegaZero, play like they did in that game again, it's going to be a 2-0. It kind of allowed Chuuper, who has been getting a lot of flack in the past for Complexity as an AD carry, to just kind of play his game, and as you were actually saying during the game, follow the leader up until the end, where he's just the follow-up for those fights. And
until
it's not,
he dives in on the inhibitor.
Yeah, well, he had the ability to do that at that point in the game, because he isn't necessarily that carry AD carry, and he needs to be in a comfortable position where Prawley and MegaZero make plays. I mean, it's not... That's a strategy that can work for teams. There's only so much farm that goes around. You don't have to give all your farm to an AD carry. In fact, that strategy is honestly slightly outdated now if we look at the standard competitive League of Legends scene. So Complexity is looking very strong coming into this one. And as Kobe was saying, so many adjustments have to be made from To Be Determined to make up for a game that has lost that badly.
Adjustments, they're going to have to come in-game and in the beginning from Champion Select. We got to take a quick break, but when we return, it's Game 2 between Complexity